Hello, ladies and gents, boys and girls, people of all ages, sexualities, and identities, and welcome back to another Sarah Jane Adventures review. And today's second review is The Curse of Clyde Langer. So, what is The Curse of Clyde Langer about? Well, the best way to put it is it's a kind of turn left story. It's a little bit like Pyramid at the End of the World. It's a lot of that kind of idea of what would a companion be like if the whole world either turned against them or were just not there for them. I would also go as far to say it's a little bit like Ruby Sunday and Lucky Day. All of these things culminated together to bring you the curse of Clyde Langer. So, what essentially happens in this story? Clyde, Rani, and Sky and Sarah all go to the museum, and Clyde finds himself in a situation in which he touches an old tribal statue, a statue in which is said to be cursed. After touching it, he gets a splinter, but this splinter only starts to play into effect the next day. At first, he brushes it off, and Sarah tells him he's not supposed to be touching the artifacts anyway. She also mentions the fact that the exhibit holder did mention that there's a lot of temporal energy coming off of the statue, and that people who have been around it seem to find themselves in a situation of inertia, kind of not really knowing what's going on. The next day, Clyde wakes up only to find out that everyone who loved him is suddenly against him. He begins to run off into the night, and the only person in this whole story who remembers who Clyde is Sky. Now, Sky's not quite sure why she wasn't affected. Maybe it's that her proximity to the statue itself, but something isn't quite right because every time Sky mentions Clyde's name to anyone, they begin to get irritated, even right down to the pinnacle of Sarah Jane herself. Sky then begins to discuss with Mr. Smith the idea that maybe something isn't quite right with everyone, or maybe it's just her. Sky tries to go out on a journey to try and hunt down Clyde, but she doesn't find the task very easy and of course has to stay home a lot at the time. Clyde finds himself amongst the homeless and the lost. A homeless girl who takes him to a soup kitchen that a lot of people here were forgotten by their families or no longer have families to care for them. Also begins to talk of a red dragon, a place that they can run away and move on with their lives. Clyde begins to get scared that the red dragon are taking people away and hurting them. What he doesn't realize is they're actually taking them up country to give them a better life. Eventually, Clyde finds himself back on Bannerman Road, in which a giant tiki statue seems to have broken through the roof of the Sarah Jane's attic and is now standing there. This is all due to the power of his name. Guy manages to break Sarah and Rani out of this kind of trance that they've been in under the Tiki's power. She manages to destroy it once and for all, and all of them go looking for Clyde. They discover him at the homeless shelter and try to bring him home. He tries to walk away from them at first, thinking they're taking the mick, especially after the way they treated him before. Even Clyde's mum seems to waken up out of the spell, and it seems like the power of Clyde Langer's name seems to be the power that helped destroy the Tiki statue. So what did I think of The Curse of Clyde Langer? I absolutely love this story. However, the ending of it, I feel like could have been different to the way it was done. I like that the power of his name and the fact that his name was vanishing was the biggest kind of thread, which seems to be why the Tiki statue, which could potentially be part of the Trickster Brigade, managed to possess and destroy his life. But I feel like another direction we could have taken this story in is maybe just have it that Clyde wakes up and realizes it was all a dream. Like, that would have been very prominent because it would be more like Donna Noble in Turn Left. But overall, I do really like this story because it really isolates Clyde and gets him to walk on the wild side. To have no comfort zone, no home to go to, really puts him in a position of where does he go next and what can he do. I mean, without Sarah and everyone else, Clyde's life would just collapse. especially without his mother, who is one of the last threads left to Clyde after his father not being around. I also really like in this story the power of where Skye can't seem to understand why everyone's so angry at Clyde. It really pushes the boat out on this idea of this one person questioning the authority and the way that the world works. It really gives me the vibes of what recently happened in Good Omens. And for that reason, I give this story at least a solid 8 out of 10. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next Sarah Jane Adventures review, which will be the final Sarah Jane Adventures review, Man Who Never Was. So, until then, goodbye, stay beautiful, and we'll see you in the next review.